Hey, what's up? It's Doug Cunnington here, and I'm from Niche Site Project. Today we're going to talk about the keyword golden ratio and specifically where you can get like seed ideas for this content. And that was just my voice that I heard on the YouTube channel because I'm pulling up the chat. So hopefully in a second people will be joining me. I will be monitoring the chat so you can ask questions about the keyword golden ratio and other stuff. As we're waiting around for people to hop on, I'll just make some witty banter and say something interesting. Should have thought of that ahead of time because I don't have anything to say really, but that bought me a little time. And I'll mention that a couple things are going on this week. One, my course, 5-Figure Niche Site, is out. Enrollment only opens a few times a year, so if you are interested in starting a niche or authority site, probably we call it a niche site around here in these parts, but basically if you're interested in starting such a site, this course is probably a good fit for you. It takes you really it takes you from start to finish in creating a niche site, keyword research, setting up the site, adding content, backlinks, the whole deal. Additionally, most people that get the quickest benefit, the quickest ROI is basically people that have sites already. So if you have a site that's getting, some traffic, you usually can implement some stuff like right away that will have a great effect on your site. I've seen this happen a few times. In fact, just this morning I was speaking to a student from earlier this year named Gary, and his revenue has gone up like dramatically on a site that he's been working on for years, and basically came back to it, implemented some stuff. Keyword golden ratio content is what he published, and the revenue has gone up like several times. I'm trying to remember the exact stats, but it went up a lot. So, and I see people are hopping on, which is awesome. I see David. Welcome, David. Thanks for coming in today. And then we have, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, but I'll just say XS. That's cool. Welcome. Really appreciate you hopping on. And Gustavo, what's up? Good to have you on. And we will get moving here in a second. So that was one thing. Course is out. The other is I was walking with my wife after dinner last night. The rain and storms let up for a few minutes before it started raining on us while we were out there. And basically this week with the launch, I was surprised because I don't feel as stressed out as I have for other launches. So I've launched the course a couple times, and there's always like a lot of stuff to do. And this maybe could be a whole video by itself once I put all the thoughts together. But basically, I don't feel as stressed this week, and it's mainly because of I think the project management background helped me plan everything out ahead of time. So, I have emails queued up. I have all my materials ready. And I was working on this for the last, 2 to 3 weeks, preparing everything, making sure, like enrollment periods were turned on, links were updated, just the things were done. And it wasn't, all of a sudden I'm just not stressed out. I did, plenty of work ahead of time. And then the second key part, which I didn't realize, is I left this whole week pretty open. So usually I'll have a lot more things to work on and my plate will be too full. This week I have about like 1 to 2 hours per day that's sort of scheduled. And then it's kind of a little relaxed. So it's open. So I can answer questions. People send emails, they ask questions. There's like a chat app on the sales page for the course, and basically like people can ask questions about it and I can answer. If I was actually trying to do some other work at the same time that I was doing that, I'd be totally stressed out. So anyway, I built in some Slack and I did work ahead of time. This made this week much better so far on Tuesday morning. So I guess check with me later on in the week. Okay, Nick joined us too. Awesome. What's up? And you'll notice I'm not doing the simulcast. Yeah, just I don't want to do Facebook right now, so just not doing it. And I placed links over there, so if someone actually cares, they can click the link and come over here and watch. But anyway, today we're going to talk about the keyword golden ratio and getting ideas. So this is one of the questions that came out of the webinar from last Thursday. Mary didn't have time to, or she wasn't available to watch the webinar live, but she had like, I don't know, a page of questions at least. It was a lot. She was very kind and grateful that I would answer any of them, but I was like, all right, let's make some use of the content and not just answer one person one time. Let's help everyone. So question was around keyword golden ratio. And the thing is, there's two kinds of people, right? People that, look at the keyword golden ratio idea, look at some of the strategies around it, and then they just find hundreds of them. It's like no problem. They have too many keywords and they don't have enough time to write all the content. Then the rest of the people have trouble finding just a couple. I'm not saying Mary is one of those, but she said, is there a way to do it faster? So one of the things about the keyword golden ratio is there's not a tool to effectively do this. There is one tool called, I think like I Love Page One, and it's a tool from like 3 years ago or so. It only works on a Windows machine. I use a Mac. A lot of internet marketers seem to use Macs as well. So we haven't even tried it, right? Technically, I could put in like some kind of emulator or virtual box for a Windows machine on my Mac, but I hate doing that kind of stuff. So I just didn't worry about it. And basically, one of the reasons why the keyword golden ratio works is because marketers like us can't abuse it with a tool. I may have mentioned it before that I think I read it on that site called I Love Page One that has the tool out there. I'm pretty sure they mentioned that Google artificially like slows down that advanced search query so that you just can't get the data as fast. Further, if you type this in and you make more than, I'm not sure the number, but if you make, I'm just going to make up a number, if you make more than like 50 of those commands, like the all in title search query in 20 minutes or something, then it will not work for you. It'll sort of flag your IP and you can't do that anymore. So, are there ways around it? Potentially. It basically would require using like proxy IP addresses and then like running those search commands on different IP addresses so that it doesn't draw any attention from Google. So the reason why I'm explaining all this is the manual slow process of looking up a KGR term is part of why it works. If it was easy for everyone to get these long lists of keywords, then everyone would do it and the effectiveness would go down. That said, this is a multi-part process, right? If you have some KGR terms, let's say you find 10 of them and you publish those, chances are that's probably not going to be, your 5-figure site. You're going to have to continue to work. You're going to have to put more content out there. If you have a couple hundred articles that are KGR terms, commercially oriented, sure, yeah, that's a good amount of money. That's probably full-time income, in fact. It depends on the price point and all that. But the point is, there's a two-part process. You have to find the keywords, and then you also have to publish this stuff in volume. So this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And you have to, you can put it together through multiple sprints over time, but this is not going to be a thing where you do it fast. Again, not suggesting Mary had any ideas like that, but her question was around how to find these better. So there's a couple main things that I could tell you to do, 3 of them. So the first one is to use the auto suggest of the Google search bar. So if you type in, again, I'll stick with the pen example because, oh, you know what? Let's do something totally different. Markers. I usually do pens. We did highlighters the other day. Today we'll do markers, a whole different kind of writing utensil. So this is a Sharpie right here. And so you could say like best Sharpie for, and then hit the space bar within the Google search field. And then it'll spit out a bunch of commonly used searches. So right off the bat, that's probably 8 or so search terms that you can look for. Best Sharpie for whatever, writing on Post-it notes. Best Sharpie for, you know, writing on concrete, stuff like that. And when you get those, of course, you can use a tool like Keywords Everywhere. Nick mentioned that. So Keywords Everywhere is a great tool. It's free. It's by the people at Keyword Keg. So those are great guys and gals over there. Actually, I think it's a couple guys, but those are great people over there. Their tool's awesome. It's competitively priced. I recommend it. I'm not an affiliate. And I think, you know, for people on a budget, which is all of us, right? People on a budget, Keyword Keg is probably the lowest cost of entry to get good keyword research information. And, you know, get it for a couple months, pay about $8 to $24 a month, depending on your plan, and then cancel it when you're done. So anyway, before I digress too much, you can use the auto-suggest, I guess, search terms, search phrases that Google is telling you. When you search each one of those, this is the second one, when you search each one of those terms, at the very bottom, you're going to see basically related searches. And a tool like Keywords Everywhere will tell you the searches in line on the search engine result page, or SERP. You may hear it abbreviated as SERP. So basically, you could look down there and see several other related terms. Those are more seed keywords that you can look to see if they fit the keyword golden ratio. So that's 2 ways. So one is auto-suggest. 2 is related searches. Both of those are from Google, free. It just takes, you know, time on the on the laptop or computer. The other thing that you could use is a tool called Ubersuggest. Now, to be fair, I haven't used it in the last couple months, but the main idea here is it uses the auto-suggest feature of Google and sort of expands it out in a, you know, sort of an exponential way. So if you put in, you know, best Sharpie, it will use that as the seed sort of root keyword, and it'll search for every other term that has that, or every other auto-suggest that has that in the beginning. So it'll be hard for me to explain it in words, but if you go to Ubersuggest, you should see how it works for you. You'll end up with hundreds of keywords, more than you actually want to look for, but you'll be able to get a good idea of the search terms with that sort of prefix or beginning, best Sharpie. The tool Ubersuggest was, I believe, purchased by Neil Patel and or his one of his companies. So, you know, I'm not sure if you have to enter an email address and then you're in his marketing funnel or what, but I think you may have to enter an email address, but I believe it's probably still a free tool. Oops, sorry. And the main idea is it automates that auto-suggest tactic, the #1 that I listed. So those are 3 ways. So Google auto-suggest just manually on the search bar. Then you have the related searches, which are at the bottom of the page. And then the third is to use a tool like Ubersuggest. And I'm guessing, is anyone interested in another way that would be really useful? Because I have 4 now. I thought of another one that is even better than the other 3 that I mentioned. So if you're watching this live, let me know in the chat. If you're watching it and it's not live, if you're watching this later, leave a comment and just say, yeah, I want to know the 4th way, blah, blah, blah. Just trying something a little different here. And feel free to ask questions. I see Brian on. Thanks, buddy. Brian is asking, and I'll come back to the fourth one in a second, but if you're watching this recorded in particular, please like the video. Please leave a comment as well. Really appreciate it. All right, Brian says, do you still need to use keyword keg, or do you still use keyword keg as your primary keyword research tool? Yes, that is correct. And thing is though, keyword research is fun, right? It's fun, it's addictive, and if you just find the keywords, unfortunately, there's not much. I mean, you can do cool stuff with keywords, but they're like ideas, right? It's all into execution. So the problem with keyword research, and I'm not saying anyone here is doing this, by the way, but the problem with keyword research is I do know that a lot of people spend too much time looking for keywords and not enough time doing something with the keywords they already have and executing and making those, revenue generating, pieces of work, right? Like, we're trying to make money on this, right? Nobody's doing this as an actual hobby. We're trying to make money at this, and it could be fun, right? I enjoy this stuff, but at the end of the day, there needs to be an ROI on the end of it. So the problem with keyword research after you have the keywords you need is it's sort of a form of procrastination. So the reason why I'm saying this is for myself, right? I have enough keywords right now. So I have a keyword keg account, but I don't do keyword research very often. I do it like once a quarter or every 6 months. So think about that for a second. Like, you really, like, once you have developed like the intuition, you spend some hours on the tools, you understand bad keywords, you understand good keywords, you can look at the competition and figure out like what's working, what's not. Like, you don't need to do keyword research that often. So I don't. That's the point. That's the point I was trying to make. Like, I don't do keyword research that often, but keyword keg is the tool that I use, and I have been using it basically all this year. So and thanks folks for leaving the comments about in chat about the seeing the next and hearing about the next one. And okay, so I'll get to it. SEMrush is the tool that's awesome for this type of keyword research. So there's a few things. I haven't mentioned this too much. I do have a video on SEMrush, but it's not using like the full version. It's just using the free version. So you can get some value out of the free version, but to do this effectively, you need to pay like the $100 a month or whatever, and pull down the report. So you need to go, and you can sign up for a free trial. I don't have a link around, but you can just sign up for a free trial with SEMrush. I think normally it's 7 days. If you use my affiliate link, it's like 14 days. As long as you cancel before your 14 days is up, you won't be charged. Okay, so what you do is you go to a competitor site and then you download like 10,000 of their top keywords, like that's sort of the instant download. So you download 10,000 of the keywords which they are ranking for. Then you can start filtering. In fact, you may even be able to, if it's a really big site, you can filter it beforehand. So that you end up with, not 100,000 keywords or 500,000 keywords, but you just end up with like 10,000 or 6,000, something manageable. But you can filter in a few ways. I'll tell you a couple that I do. So one is the number of words in the search phrase. Okay, so that's one. Basically, if you do like 4 or 5 or 6, you're going to end up with pretty long phrases, and those are the type that I'm really interested in. Those are going to be more KGR, or more likely to have a KGR ratio that's favorable. So 4, 5, or 6 words long. If it's a smaller site that you're researching, then you don't have to do this much filtering. But if you're looking at a big competitive site, a lot of content, it's ranking for a lot of keywords, you will need to filter it a bit. So number of words is one. The other is the search volume. So for KGR to work best, you want the search volume to be 250 or less. So you can just filter right there off the bat. If you still end up with too many keywords, well, you could filter to like 90. 90 searches per month, and then go from there. So after that, I really just see how much, how many results, how many keywords fit the criteria that the metrics that I just mentioned, and then make sure it's under 10,000 basically. Then after that, you can filter a little harder depending on like what you want to do. So there's a couple other tricks. I don't remember all the fields off the top of my head, but basically you can set up the filter so you end up with something manageable. And really, I mean, to be honest with you, you kind of want it to be like under 1,000 because these are like terms that you're going to try and look up. Then you download the CSV, you pull it into your spreadsheet app of choice. I typically use either Sheets on, I pretty much just use Sheets on Google Docs. Then after that, you have to check the all in title. But the main idea here is you're going to a site that is already, getting traffic. They're ranking for a lot of keywords. You download their keywords from SEMrush, and then you'll have, hundreds or thousands. And this is one of the main reasons why I don't have to do a ton of keyword research looking for new stuff, because I already know like these keywords work. Other sites are ranking for them. They're not searched for very much. Their keyword volume is really low. I mean, if you wanted to, right, you could look for stuff that only has like 20 searches or less per month. And the idea there is there are very few people that are competing for search terms that are that low, that have that low of a search volume. And depending where you are in your niche site journey, you may want to go after content that's going to rank fast so you can start getting traffic and start building momentum so you can start making money that you could reinvest into your site. I mean, I have some big sites. I'm still going after like super low keyword volume because, the volume that you can find these keywords, it's actually worthwhile. Like that's, part of the idea of the long tail. Good book if you haven't read it, by the way. It's by Chris Anderson. Okay, let me check out some of the comments that we have going on here. And thank you, Leo, for letting us know that Ubersuggest is indeed free. It's ubersuggest.io, and Leo used it this morning. Awesome. Nick says he has tons of keywords, but translating that into content is a whole another game, is what he said. So, and the thing is, that's the hard part, right? If you want to do this at scale, like the keywords are easy, right? On Niche Site Project, I give away 15,000 keywords because like that's the easy part. And when I see people, actually my friends of mine, so I won't get too animated here, but like people sell keywords to newbies, right? People sell keywords and they're like, oh, the estimated value of these keywords is, $10,000, but you have to do like a year to 2 years of work to realize that sort of revenue. And you also have to not make any mistakes along the way. Keywords are like ideas, and it's just, they're not really worth much until you execute on them. And the execution is the hard part. To publish that much content, you have to hire a bunch of people to write it for you, unless you're a pro writer and you can churn out content like that. Still, I mean, if you are a professional writer, it's probably not going to be fulfilling to churn out this type of content. So anyway, keywords are easy to get, so I don't do that much keyword research. I just get a bunch, and then I'm happy with it, and I'm working on the other parts, the execution part. And as we go through here, so Brian, cool, glad I answered your question. Mystical says, about image, you probably use only legal way. I mean stocks or, sorry guys and gals, I'm just trying to read it. Okay, so I'll interpret the question for you. It looks, it was a little hard for me to understand, but I think I got the gist. Mystical, thank you for asking it. So how do you get legal images to use for your affiliate content? Turns out I have a whole YouTube video about it. And if you go to my channel, you should be able to find it, but it's like images to use for your niche site or something like that. And there's like 7 or 8 like totally free ways that you can, grab images. And some of them are not going to be like useful for niche sites, right? There are images that you can use for free sometimes without even attribution. But the main place that you can get images for this kind of stuff is Creative Commons. So if you go to Creative Commons, you normally, like the good images, you will have to do some attribution, but it's free. And all you have to do is place a link back to the profile of the Creative Commons user over on Flickr. So, and what I would suggest is go over to Flickr Creative Commons, read the license, and then you'll understand what you need to do. But yeah, so you could use images. That's an easy thing to figure out. Go watch the video. Yep, and Nick mentions it should take a day of research to come up with months of content ideas. Yep, and the thing is, like, the keywords, I mean, to do the keyword golden ratio stuff, you really have to get into the zone. You have to start with a set of keywords, seed keywords to check, and then after that, it takes a few hours to manually look these up. Josh says, please note that SEMrush's search volume measurement is an estimate. It's a proprietary tool. Best to check it yourself in Google before making a judgment call. Cool. Yeah, that's a good point, Josh. And you can, like cross-reference. I'm experimenting. I haven't gotten any like solid results yet, but within Keyword Keg, and I think like one of the advanced plans, you actually get like a keyword difficulty metric. And I have been working with the developers there and the founders there to learn more about how they're determining it. It's pretty good. The thing is, it takes a lot of time and I guess like processor bandwidth or whatever you call it, processor power to process and like work through and calculate that information, like the keyword difficulty stuff, but it uses things that are similar to what I'm interested in, like the all in title. It's not exactly, they don't use the all in title, but they have similar, views on how they calculate it. And it's, I haven't done a test, but based on the description, it's more accurate than many of the other tools that I've seen out there. There is a tool called Ferzy that's new. It's F-E-R-Z-Y. And again, I'm talking with the developer and founders there about that tool. And it's mainly around keyword difficulty. There's no bulk way to do it. But the reason why I was bringing that up is, Josh, I'll pull the report from SEMrush. I'll have my seed data, and then I'll put it into like a keyword tool that I could check in mass, like Keyword Keg. So I could dump all the keywords I find in there and then get, basically new data for the keyword volumes that I could match up. I haven't actually done that. I pretty much take the SEMrush data and it's like close enough for my purposes. All this is kind of like nebulous. I give specific numbers. The search volume has to be 250. You should target stuff under 0.25. But everything's sort of fluid. So the point is, like, I'm giving numbers so people can, like, there's a line in the sand and they need to, aim for that. But really, everything is sort of, it's a little fuzzy. There's no lines drawn. It's all fuzzy. So the point where the particular sites that I'm talking about, like, I can go to higher search volumes. I don't have to go to, a ratio of 0.25, I can go 0.5. If the content just makes sense to be on the site and it's like 1, I'll publish it anyway. So, you don't have to be as strict. If you're in the course though, and you're publishing your first pieces of content, you should probably be strict. So I just want to mention that. Josh, excellent point. Let's see here. Oh, a lot of questions. JP, what's up? What do I think about tools like Question Samurai. I don't know what Question Samurai is, but if it's part of the Market Samurai family of products, I probably don't like it. So I bought Market Samurai way, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, because Pat Flynn kept talking about it, but it is awful. It is just so out of date, and I think as soon as I bought it, it was obsolete. So it's like they made their money and left. So, but if it's a different tool, then I don't know. I haven't used it before. Jay asked, how often do you put keywords in a post? It depends. So if it's a sort of a long tail, long phrase, like a KGR term, usually it'll be in the title and then one other time in the copy. So 1 to 2 times normally. If it's a shorter phrase, if it's a higher search volume, then I'll use it more often. It depends. But usually I don't go crazy with it. And Mark, what's up? Good to have you on. And Mystical, oh, you're totally fine. I had a little trouble reading Mystical Heaven's question, but it's totally okay. They are from the French part of Canada, so that's totally cool. No problem. It was just hard for me to read it out loud at the same time as thinking of the answer. So, okay. Next, on the images, if you don't do attribution and try and sell your site, can you get dinged by a potential buyer for it? I don't know. I've never had that happen, but I'd be more worried about the person coming after you for copyright violation. I mean, the thing is, if they put it on Creative Commons, they're probably not out like trolling to find where their image is used, but you know what, people are crazy, so maybe they're doing it. And it's super easy to do the attribution. So Chris says, you have said in the past you even target keywords with a 0 monthly search and get good traffic. How do you determine which of these very low volume keywords to focus attention to? You know what? If it looks like a keyword that makes sense to me, then I'll go for it. There's no real formula or way to figure out that a specific 0 volume term is going to be like profitable or anything. So Chris, I wish I had a better answer, but if it looks like a good keyword, the content looks like it'll help someone, then if you publish it, it'll probably work out okay. Josh says, Doug, tell us why Keyword Keg is a good deal. Why should we get it? Well, it's cheaper than a lot of the other tools out there, and it has roughly the same functionality. And why should we get it? You know, look, I'm not an affiliate or anything, so you could use whatever tool you prefer. So for me, it's the most economic of the ones that are out there. So that's why I'm using it. I think you're asking which plan do I have? I think I have the most expensive plan, but I joined right when they got started, so I'm like grandfathered in at a lower rate. So I think I have the best plan, but I'm not 100% sure. And their highest level plan is $24 a month, and most other tools are, they start at, $30 a month. Not all, but most start at about $30 a month. Okay, Dami, what's up? Good to have you on. And then Feed says, keyword cannibalization, which appears like it could be a question, but looks like a statement. So, all right, cool. I think we're starting to wind down. Any last questions before we finish up here? Okay, Feed went deeper into the question. Best shoes and best shoes for kids. Should that be 2 different articles or 1 super article? Okay. There's a whole webinar training on keyword cannibalization that goes deeper, but I would just tell you, I know this is an arbitrary example, but I would just tell you, I wouldn't even write an article for best shoes. I wouldn't even target it. Anything huge like that, I wouldn't go for it. I would just do the best shoes for kids one, and then and generally this session is about the keyword golden ratio, so I'm going to answer this in like the context of the keyword golden ratio. 2 articles, right? If you want the keyword golden ratio to work, you need to have the keyword phrase in the title. So write separate articles. Just as a rule, write separate articles. I do know that other like SEO people, I think Brian Dean has, I think I read an email from him a few weeks back, and it was generally like, people are saying to publish articles like I'm describing now, like very specific. And he's like, no, Google likes really long form content with a lot of keywords that you're targeting within it. I think Google likes both of them. And, Brian's doing awesome, like better than awesome with what he's doing. And my stuff works too. So it's never like black or white. There's a blend. You have to pick what you want to do. Mystical Heaven says, in SEMrush, the keyword difficulty, you feel okay with it. I haven't experimented with it too much. I'm playing around with it a little, and I don't know what metrics they use. So it seems reasonable, but I don't have any firsthand experience. Josh asks about a buyer's keyword and then how I take a keyword and make it into a piece of content. Josh, there's a whole webinar that I have, and what I'll do, like I'm gonna write a couple of these down. So there was keyword cannibalization. So someone asked about that. And then this is about buyer's keywords. So I'm gonna put in the description of this video when I finish, I'll put the links that goes through, because these are huge topics, right? I talked about this stuff for like an hour. So buyer's keyword. Basically, there's a whole thing on keyword research. There's a whole webinar on keyword research that explains everything for you. But I can give you an example for sure right now. The exact question is, give an example of a buyer's keyword, then how I'd take that keyword and make it into a piece of content, i.e. the article title. So I'll use Feeds keyword sample, best shoes for kids. So the title would be, so best shoes for kids, that's a buyer's keyword. The title would be best shoes for kids, or what are the best shoes for kids? That's it. Super simple. Mark says that he uses Jaxie and likes it. And Josh is a handful of questions today. So I'm gonna write these questions down. You're asking too many for today, which I appreciate. I love it, but I'm logging it over here on my questions that are asked sheet. So that I can come back to them, because these are big topics. And Josh asked a question that I can't wait to answer. It is, where do you get pillow links? And he's really talking, I didn't know that people refer to those kinds of links as pillow links, but what you're saying is naked URLs and branded anchors usually. And what type of links are they? All guest posts. So here's a big secret for you. I don't get any of those links. I don't want links to my homepage. I don't really care about branded links either. Why not? Why don't I care about those? Well, I'm trying to get my affiliate reviews to rank so I get traffic on those pages. I really don't care if my homepage gets traffic. In fact, I don't try and get links to the homepage. I'm not trying to get naked URLs. The people that try and get naked URLs and branded anchors usually use gray hat tactics to get links, but it's way more natural for your site to have almost all of the links going to internal pages, because that's the stuff that people are interested in. They're not typically interested in your homepage. That's another reason why like the homepage doesn't matter that much. Like, you know, you can don't make it affiliate content, but just make it a normal homepage, couple pictures, link to your link to your blog posts and stuff like that. But you should not, unless you're doing something, you have a different idea on the SEO aspect, you shouldn't really be trying to get links to your homepage. It's just really a waste of time. Okay, interesting question, Josh, but yeah, totally like deep topic I can go into some other time. Dami, thanks for pasting that KGR thing, link there. And Jay Robbins, what's the best, the last question here, all right, what's the best free keyword research tool? That'll be Keywords Everywhere. So and like the functionality, Jay, is going to be, you know, at a free level, but for $8 a month, the low level of Keyword Keg, which is, I mean, Keyword Keg and Keywords Everywhere, created by the same people. So if you do that, then, you know, $8 a month, usually a person can work out the $8 a month, use the tool a lot for the month, you know, and then hopefully you get your money's worth out of it. And last comment here, Josh says, you should consider doing an over-the-shoulder series in the members area where you rank a sample affiliate site from start to finish and show my mad skills. You know, I was talking to someone today about that, and there's definitely some risk in doing it, but then there's other areas where, you know, it's super helpful to see like how I set up a site. The suggestion that was given was to like just say, hey, I'm not going to try to like make money on this site. I'm just going to get it out there as a sample so you can see what a site is supposed to look like. You can see the steps, the behind the scenes, the over the shoulder stuff. But the risk, there's a bit of risk there, right? So like every site, like even if most things go right, it's not always going to work out. Then the other thing is it would take a lot of time. Like there's a lot of stuff that I'm working on, and the leverage of me working on a brand new site is very low compared to me working on a site that I can like spend the same time on and make a lot more money. And Josh mentions, Josh is really trying to convince me and says, I'd increase my clients. There's some aspect, but I have a feeling that I probably wouldn't necessarily increase my clients. I don't know. I could be totally wrong, but I've never seen a public case study end well. Like there's always something happening. The most recent one that I've seen is, I guess, it's like Thank Your Skin. It's by Tung Tran at Cloud Living. He's doing a case study on it, and I think he's been hit with negative SEO now. Like at some point, the sites almost always get hit with negative SEO. And it's interesting to do live case studies, and they're very like, you can get people on it. And I may do it, Josh, because, you know, that could be a great way for me to like build the email list. But anyway, yeah, it's an interesting idea. Live case studies are always really popular, but, you know, I'll have to look at it all. It may also be that like I'm at a cap of where I want my clients to be, and I'm still thinking about that. So, and students rather. So, okay, Jay says, I have a couple hobby blogger friends who try not to spend, and they ask me about it, and you love Keyword Keg. Cool, yeah. So Keywords Everywhere is like the easiest way to get into it. And then, yeah, if they, I mean, I guess they're just hobbying. So it's close enough. They could dump a list of keywords in and then get the volumes, and that would do well enough for them. So, all right, Mystical Heaven, thanks for joining up. Jay, appreciate it. Josh, Dami, David, all the other folks, Chris, Trying to look and make sure. Nick, Mark, JP, and Brian, Leo, Gustavo. Everyone, thanks for joining up today. Should do the same tomorrow, roughly the same time. Thanks everyone for being like flexible with my timing here. Just got, I had to eat. I got a little hungry earlier. So, all right, have a good day. We'll talk tomorrow. Thanks.